Hello, hello. Welcome to the TV room. David Bradley here, just getting my fedora sorted here. This fedora actually belonged to my father. How do I know that? Because in the brim here, in tiny little holes, it says RTV. And it fits pretty well. Anyway, let's see what else we have to do in the decluttering thing. What do we have here? We have some paper. And this is an extra thing. But I'm not sure what show it was for. Although it should say. Hmm. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't need to be here on this table. But I should hang on to it. So I do have a banker's box thing downstairs that I put things in. Here is something for the Nintendo Switch. Now, probably this thing here is not the one. There is a thing in here, but it's probably the one I took out of the Switch to put this other one in so we could give it a try. And then, of course, I ordered a thing so we could do it on the TV. But so far, I haven't been able to get that to work. So I think I, too... Oh, my. See, this kind of side table here that has things in it is getting mighty full. But maybe that'll fit. Ooh. Well, it sort of kind of fits. Now here is something, and I've not talked about this, and people are like, oh, medical things, don't talk about medical things, oh, everything must be hidden away, and, whatever. Anyway, we all have our issues. This, as probably many, many, many people know now, is a CPAP mask. And there's, of course, a story behind this. Do I wear a CPAP mask? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I have worn one. Golly. I would say closing in on 35 years, if not 35 years. And, before I knew anything about anything, I was awfully tired. For example, when I lived in Florida, I would get on the road and drive not very far to the computer store down there that we had. And in that time, just basically leaving our area, going to the highway, and going, I think it was 2 exits down, I wouldn't fall asleep, but I was feeling tuckered out. And I was just zonked. So anyway, went for a consultation, and then this was early in the days of all of this. They didn't have sleep labs and other such things. They came one day with a machine and they hooked me up and I slept, and it actually had a paper readout, kind of like a lie detector machine. Pages and pages and pages and pages it did overnight. And then they said, you have sleep apnea. And I said, oh, what do we do about that? So anyway, thus came CPAP. Now, this is not the first mask. The first machine was pretty big, pretty loud, pretty noisy. But it's funny, it made an incredible difference. And I have no doubt that if I was not on CPAP, that I would have long ago perished, either in a car accident or from some sort of something that was brought on. Because sleep apnea, well, just imagine that you don't get any rest or real rest for years and years and years and years and years. And you are deprived of oxygen through the night, but you don't wake up. you kind of almost wake up. So you really don't, anyway, it's kind of like riding a roller coaster all night long. You don't get sleep. Or, sorry, you sleep, but you don't get rest, and you wake up tired. And you're just running on empty forever, and generally you have to do things to try and stay awake. In my case, it was caffeine, typically in the form of Coca-Cola or some other acceptable substitute. And it's kind of also a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you are a little bit overweight and that sets up the sleep apnea, and then you have to do things to try and stay awake, which include sugary things and caffeinated things, and you get more weight, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's not good. Anyway, so I had got on the machine and started, and then of course I thought about, my twin brother should probably, maybe. Anyway, and I had called up north, and I talked to my dad about it. He was like, oh. Anyway, ends up, he, very likely, had undiagnosed sleep apnea for a very, very long time, and that is indeed what took him far too young. Now, it isn't the sleep apnea, it's the effects of it, because it damages basically two small parts of your body, your heart and your brain. So, and what are the symptoms? Well, if you hear somebody breathing when they're sleeping, when there is snoring going on, and sometimes it can be incredibly loud snoring. I was an incredibly loud snorer. But the thing, and the snoring is not it, but it could be part of it. Anyway, if you hear them snore, but then you hear them pause, and the pause could be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or, it just depends. And then there's sort of a sputter, and then the snoring continues. That's sleep apnea. And of course, when they hook you up to all these things and do all these tests, they can tell how bad it is, and how long the durations are typically, and how many times you stop breathing in an hour. And that, of course, determines how severe it is. And, oh, no, no, no. Where's my phone? Likely spam. Well, we can do without that. That was my phone ringing. Likely spam, as they say. Anyway, so yes, they can tell you how bad it is. And there are now and more. There's other treatments and other things, but I'm going to stick with what I have been doing, because I don't want more surgeries. I don't want implants, and because this has been working quite fine for 35 years. And indeed, my brother is on it, and there are a number of other people I know who are on it after I said to them, you should really get checked for sleep apnea. And I'm no magic magician or whatever, but I can often I can tell just looking into somebody's eyes and just seeing that sort of glassy, not drunken, not whatever, but just that exhaustion. So it's been a while since I've told anybody, gee, you should really get checked for sleep apnea. But certainly there's one fellow I know who is now closing in on 90 years of age, and he's pretty sure that had I not convinced him to get checked, that he too would have long ago died. So, anyway, if you know somebody in your family, regardless of age, regardless of body type, regardless of anything, because it doesn't have to be. By the way, the kind I have is obstructive. But anyway, if with snoring or not, if you hear somebody as they're sleeping, stopping breathing over and over and over and over and over, that's bad. So, and once again, it doesn't matter. What really matters is what's in the throat. Now, there's another kind of sleep apnea, and that's where your body just forgets to breathe. That's not good either. And I'm not sure all that goes on with that. And then, of course, there's some people who have a combination of both. Anyway, just if you're around somebody and you hear that pause, sputter, gasp, whatever, really, and chances are you'll have to take them, because probably they're too tired to deal with it. Because why? Well, because they're not getting good sleep. And they haven't got good sleep for perhaps decades. but the damage is done. Actually, there was a fellow, and I miss him, but years ago, he told me of his father had got into a bit of a mix-up, scrape-up, like car accident thing, and they were suspecting maybe he had narcolepsy, which is, of course, when you just fall asleep. And I said, well, that's possible, but, you should really tell him to check him for sleep apnea. Because that, too, can be a misdiagnosis and such. Anyway, they did check him, and sure enough, oh, yes. And they figured at that point he had not very long to live because of all the damage to his heart. But he lived a good many years longer, like more than 10. I think they thought maybe he might last 3 or 4 months. But once he got on CPAP, he lived a lot longer. So anyway, it's a very good thing. I mean, no disease is good, and this is not a cure, but it certainly is a very effective control. Anyway, this mask I should wash. I have already, there should be a little piece here that is supposed to rest on my forehead. I think I've stolen that for another one. Sad thing is, masks come and go. And the last time I went to Wellwise, and I really wanted to get another mask like this, they said, oh, we don't do that anymore. But you can call around to some of our other stores and see if they have any around, which I thought, that's really your job. You should be doing that. So I got some other kind of mask, and I'm not sure that I'm really pleased with it, because this one, it's kind of like what I mostly use. It's big. It does not go over the mouth and the nose. It just goes over the nose, and it's well cushioned and such. And so it's a substantial size mask. They try and get things that are smaller and smaller, and I'm not sure I like them. Anyway, so I maybe use these longer than I should because, well, I haven't been able to find these. But I like going to Wellwise because they are a part of Shoppers Drug Mart. And if I go on the days that they have the 20 times points, I can get the mask and then get a goodly number of points back on my Optimum card. So that's always good. Anyway, but does this need to be here amongst things on the soldering table? No, it does not need to be here. So it's not going to be here. It is not. Things that need to be on the soldering table are things that need to be on the soldering table. Now this thing, okay, this is something to do with the Swift. It looks like it's an arm thing or something. Anyway, I will tuck it in the drawers here so I can better explore what it is, but it's out of the way. It is. Now here is something, and I don't know why it's all covered in stuff, but it's the label from a Commodore 64. And it certainly is covered in stuff. I mean, the glue on this stuff is pretty good, but anyway, there's a lot of stuff on here. But see, that's the nameplate. So I can't get rid of that. I cannot. Perhaps I will put it in this bucket. And perhaps at some point, oh, look, here's something that doesn't necessarily need to be here, but it is here. Excuse me, it's Goo Gone, which will probably help get me that cleared up. But this does not need to be here either. It needs to be somewhere where I know where it is, but it doesn't need to be here. Oh, the deoxit, it needs to be here. And here, I have a mouse. And this, oh, well, that's interesting. It's another mouse. This is a battery mouse thing. Okay, there's no battery in it. Interesting. There's another mouse here. See, I also, because I was doing other things, I brought a couple of laptop things that are quite ancient up here. I did. And do they really need to be on the soldering table? No, they don't. They do not, especially this one. So I'm going to take it and unplug it and put it over here. Now the thing about this mouse is, for the mouse to work, have any hope of working, it really needs, there's a thing, a USB thing supposed to go into the computer so it can communicate. And this computer actually has one. It's a little thing like that, basically, the receiver thing. Goes in the USB port so the mouse and the computer can talk. It is lovely. Much better than having a cord going all over the place. Now this computer I have been using quite often here. Oh no, 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 no. I see something here. It's a little foot. And I know what it's from. I know what it's from. Ah, there's another one. Oh, this is from, there we go. Put the feet in place. I might have to glue them. This does need to be sort of around here. Sort of. It's a VIC switch. Lets you connect many machines together. And here is the power cable. Now, I was doing some pretty heavy-duty experiments on here with many, many drives, many, many computers and things. But does this need to be right here? Well, no. I'm going to put it in this chair. I'm going to figure out something else for that. I am. And then there's other things that, they're not terrible things. Like here's a service manual for a Commodore Model Plus 4 computer. And the service manual for a B model computer. These are rare originals. They are. They're rare and originals. So who knows? Now, am I likely to ever work on such a thing? Again, who knows? They also do not need to be on the soldering table, so they can go away. Here is a binder. I should brush it off some. It is, says Commodore, the one to grow on. It's kind of dirty. It's been around. But it is what came with the SX64. And I think, if I remember right, yeah, this pretty much has all the stuff inside. Look, it's a little thing to put things in, and some paper to write on. Isn't it lovely? Perhaps I will see about dusting this off or using a rollie on it, but does it need to be on the soldering table? No. Aha, here. Oh, it's funny, I was wondering where something like this might be. I wonder if this one actually fits. This is a very fluffy one. Oh yeah, that would do. Maybe the next time I go to what I call wound care for a wound I've suffered, I will take that with me. Because it's in the back of a walk-in clinic. And I think when I go there, I think a lot of the kids think I'm Santa, but I'm not wearing the hat. So anyway, but does this need to be on the table? No. Does that bowl need to be on the table? No. Now here's something. Definitely doesn't need to be here. And I don't know how long it's been here. And certainly that is going away to the green bin. Why they are there, I don't know. Now here is something that can be handy for those who have sleep apnea at times. If it is bright and you really are trying to sleep during the day, these can be pretty fun. They can. They certainly make it dark. Some people have rooms with blackout blinds and other such things, and you can still get the mask quite nicely over this thing. I have not used this for a while, but I think I will put it with my bag of tricks to do with sleep apnea issues. So I have it handy. Now here's something I got, and I think they're pretty okay. They're not the highest quality, and sometimes I look in and I say, oh yeah, bent legs before I even start, but of course it's more sockets. So that is not a bad thing to say. This thing, I don't know what this really does. It's a Samsung thing. It's a USB thing, and there was a television I got, and it was stuck in some port. And I still don't know what it is, and I don't know why, and I really haven't investigated it. But for the moment, not that I think it's going to be anything useful, I'll just throw it in the drawer and see what's what. Now, here is something I always used to religiously turn these things on because it shows that I am on the air, and it reminds me of a friend of mine who used to be in radio, and they would have little lights like that for when they were actually broadcasting, because they weren't always broadcasting. They were, playing songs and doing things, but when the on-air sign was on, that meant don't go in the booth. Don't. And if you are in the booth, don't talk. Um, some of the TV shows and things I'm on, they have similar things. The big show I was on called Clutter, now more than 10 years ago, they had a series of flashing red lights. And also there was somebody who held a little thing that made something make a noise. One sort of noise meant we're starting to record, and two meant we're stopping. And if that red light was on, or, you heard that thing, and you were a work person there doing something, even though the work you were doing was valuable and all that, it needed to stop. And if you approached a door from the outside and you saw that that light was on, you were, well, let me put it this way. You weren't really supposed to go in, but certainly didn't want to slam the door. But you could sneak in if you were very quiet about it. They didn't have, locks on the door. Anyway, so we're continuing. Now, this computer I'm not quite ready to take away. This thing here, we've seen this before. This is a battery charger for a phone. It has a port to charge, also has a USB, and it is now charged. I've now charged two of these similar things. One of them looks more like a credit card. This looks like a little brick. So I'll stick them in the drawer and see about using them at some point. Anyway, the idea, here's another thing. I think I might have tried to move this before, it didn't happen. Lip Medics. Listex is what it is. It's a lovely thing for dry lips, but it doesn't need to be here. And I'm working on figuring out some big shelf thing in the bathroom where, not a medicine cabinet, they're too small, and anyway, something bigger where I can have stuff laid out nicely, neatly, evenly. What do we have here? Oh, we have socks. Why do we have socks here? I just don't know. But yet there they are. Well, oh dear. Well, I was going to toss them, but now they've fallen. So I'll just kick them towards the stairs. I'll take them down. I'll see what's what. Oh, here. Dust. Things, as I say, things. Clutter collects as does dust. This is something that I really think that I might cut all these foolish tags off, even though there's probably things on the tags that say, oh, don't cut the tags off. But the tags are massive. And I guess the idea behind, oh my god, it only can fit on my head. I guess this is kind of an earmuff thing. But I don't, it's stretchy. It's not really stretchy. It really isn't. Ah! I feel like Bjorn Borg. Like it doesn't, I guess it kind of would go over my ears, but it's not comfy. And I think that is something that can go, I think. Made by Joe Fresh. Yeah, that can go. Yes. Now here's a hat I've had for a while. I've not worn for a while. It's from the school that I worked at. But that is a whole other story. So down farther here, I see more bins. There's a fan here behind me. And it is handy at times, but I don't think it really needs to be right here. I don't think so. So I will unplug it, and I will move it away. I'll put the cord up over the top. Aha. Here, oh, a little dusty. Here's a hat I created. I got this hat at a thrift store, and it's a little deficient. A little ripped, but anyway, I put buttons on it. And I tell you one thing about a hat full of buttons. It's it doesn't blow off your head very easily. This also is a Canadian hat. As you see, it says hey, not hey. A, how you doing, A? How you doing, A? A. Yeah, here's something. It's not really on the table. Once again, it really doesn't need to be here. But if you remember, maybe you've seen this before. Yep. It's a little beer can that dances. Yeah. That too doesn't really need to be here. Although it wasn't really on the table. No, I'm going to set it over here. It's going to go somewhere else. I think it takes a AA battery or so. I think. So now we're getting down to where the things that are here really need to be here, sort of, kind of. Although this hat does not need to be here. But, you know, we could go through it. It has some good messages on here. For example, support Ontario teachers. Welcome. Smoking stinks. Drinking and driving is a grave mistake. Kiss me, non-smokers only, Canadian Cancer Society. No, thank you. I think that's just tweeting. Proud to be a teacher. I'm going to school. Thanks for not smoking. No smoking. You smoke, I choke. Kissing a smoker. What is it? No. In memory of an ashtray. Oh, yes, okay. Let's stop racism. That's a good one, because you know what? As much as we supposedly have advanced beyond racism, there's a lot of people that are still not, they're not clear on this. And they do tend to favor people of their own background. And that does not mean white, and that does not mean black, and that does not mean whatever. It's just, it's not limited to one thing. But really, as Martin Luther King said, that he hoped his little children would be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And indeed, as much as we've come a long way, we have a long way to go. Oh, here's one. We're glad you're here. Coalitions against sexual abuse of children. Butt it out. Another smoking one. Oh, we have. Let's stop racism in French. Stay in school. No thanks, I'm learning, which is a beer, like it's got a beer mug on it. So, you know, this is a fun. Oh, now that my favorite one here is Mr. Cotter says he can't teach us anything. We must be geniuses. That, of course, is from the show Welcome Back, Cotter, which launched the career of one John Travolta as well as others. Now, the other thing that has happened here on this table, besides this extra computer and stuff, here's my bin, which has good things in it. These two pets are here, and this is what kind of got me stuck. And that was, as I've said before, I don't do well when I do stupid things. And I did a stupid thing, in that I took a professor out of a good good thing, put it in a bad thing, put the other one into the bad one into the good one. I was like, what was I thinking? Like long ago, from my days at Electronics 2001, as well as others, is, someone came in and says, oh, my computer's not working. And often it was a Commodore 64. And not always, but often it was the power supply. You would say, or I would say to people, okay, we are never plugging your power supply into our computer, but we will plug our power supply into your computer and see what's what. And if indeed the computer is working with our power supply and not with yours, we can assume it's the power supply. But never, ever, 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 ever will we put your power supply into our computer and hurt it. We just won't. And we didn't. So anyway, it was just a quick, momentary lapse in judgment where it was like, ooh, this might be good. But it wasn't good. It was not good. It was not smart. It was not wise. And as I said, that has a tendency. I don't recover well from these things. I don't. So, and anyway, so these machines have sat here now. And there, I've just plugged in another little USB speaker. And they need not be still sitting here. I need to get on with them. I need to get and figure out what's up and keep the ball rolling. I do. But I have not. Oh, what is this? Bubble wrappy thing. Is there something inside here? There is not. So I think that was a horrid shot, but that can go. What is in here? Ah, okay. Here we have, this is part. It's belts and things from a 4040 drive for a pet. So it is handy. It is useful. I guess I'll stick it in this bin. But really, I should have a better, I don't want to bend things too badly, a better way of doing such things. So we're getting there on cleaning this up. This computer is not leaving yet. Neither is its mouse. Here's a little wee microphone. Goes with it's a pair of these. And I keep them charged. And if you are going to record things, it's good to have a little microphone. It's good to speak up. I don't speak up enough. I know it. I try, and then I forget, and I say, oh, I'm talking low again. Anyway, here's another thing that I use when soldering. Oh, let's see here. This, and I've got to dump this stuff off here. But this is the bottom of, if I remember rightly, an old Vic 20. And it's good to put it on the table. And, I still have little things that hold it up. But if an iron should slip off or fall off or whatever, it means the table doesn't get scorched. Not that this table would make much difference, but it's just good to have a target place for everything to happen. Oh, yes, I need to get back into this because I want to get these pets sorted. There's another one underneath here. And recently, even though I try not to get other things, I did find and pick up a 4040 disk drive. And it certainly doesn't work. It kind of does things when you turn it on, but that too, something that needs to be got. I've got so much to go through and so much to do. So I need to have this space available. And when I'm working on things, that's one thing, but things they can't just. I must fight the clutter. Fight it. Fight the clutter. I must. I will. I shall. I have to. It is endless. But I must do it. So really, when I'm finished with something, I really have to clear the table, clean the table, shine the table, and be ready not to get caught up in the clutter. So this computer needs to go, although it's not going yet because I'm not quite done here. But other things that need to be here, but maybe not up here. And yeah. So that is the plan. And if you've been watching in the basement, I've got clutter. Oh my god, I've got clutter. So I'm going through things. But I've had setbacks. And one of them is an infection. And there are many sorts of infection. There can be infections of the body, infections of the mind, infections of the soul. Um, and I've been suffering from many such afflictions. Anyway, I will continue to get things off here and sort things and figure things. I shall. And if you're still watching this at the end, don't forget the world of Commodore is coming. I don't know all the details, but it's coming. Who knows? Maybe I'll have some stuff together there to sell. Maybe I will. I will try not to get more things. But things happen. Anyway, to summarize, try not to have clutter. And also, if you do notice there's a relative of yours that coughs and sputters while they sleep and stops breathing and stuff, really take action, because it's like slow motion death. It doesn't happen right away, but over years and years and years, like a little more damage is done, a little more damage is done, until they say, gee, you've got heart problems, or gee, this, whatever. I don't know all that goes wrong, but sleep apnea is a bad thing. And of course, some doctors will just immediately say, oh, you have to lose weight. It's a beautiful thing, but when you're still suffering from it, it makes it a lot harder. And, you know. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for dropping in. I hope to be back heating up the soldering irons, not just looking at them soon. So do have a lovely day. And we will be in touch here in the TV room. And yes, I'm hoping to make a resurrection back to the box room, the pet room, the basement soon. But not yet, but soon. I'm getting there. Today was a very tiring day. And as I say, one of the infections that has afflicted me is pretty painful. So, one day at a time, people, one day at a time. Anyway, so I guess we're going to go off the air. Until we meet again, have a lovely day. Bye for now. I should do that with this hand. But I just naturally do it with this hand. Onward. Bye.